Hailing frequencies open. Welcome to Trek Retrek here on Geek the F Out. I am Captain Johnny.
I'm Ensign Kayla.
That's take 2. That's why we're laughing.
Yeah,
we're
we
here
seem to be
talk
laughing
about,
every time we intro, though.
Yes, we. That's good though. Yeah. We're here to talk about Star Trek, the original series. The episode is called Metamorphosis.
What number episode is it, Johnny?
It's episode 9 of season 2. Also episode 38. Overall.
Fascinating. Do you have a summary?
I do. TVGuide.com says, a cloud-like creature detours the shuttlecraft. I almost thought that said devours. Detours the shuttlecraft Galileo to a remote planetoid where the crew, including Kirk, Spock, and an ailing Federation commissioner, are to provide its sole inhabitant with companionship forever. And McCoy? Like, they don't mention McCoy at all in
McCoy
the
doesn't
summary.
matter. It's fine. Bones doesn't matter.
I guess not.
He's also not a scientist, apparently. We'll get to that, though.
He's a doctor.
All right,
Which doesn't have anything to do with science at all.
Totally. All right, let's get into it. So, speaking of Bones, we have Kirk, Spock, Bones, and Lady Commissioner, before I knew what her name was, are on a shuttle on the way to the Enterprise, and she has contracted a rare disease, and so she had to leave her job, which was to apparently stop a war, which is kind of a significant job because she got this rare illness. And my first regular note that wasn't a summary note was Cup Watch 2024.
2024, yes.
Is this the first one this year?
This is the first this year that we've seen the cups. It's been a while since we've seen cups.
It has indeed.
At least the gray cups with the black line. The
I didn't
cups
see
that
the black
inspired
line
Cup
on
Watch.
it. I just saw the edge, top edge. I don't know.
It was there. Trust me.
It just looked like the
Trust in
shadow
your captain.
from the top edge, but okay. I guess I'll trust you. I just watched it on like an 80-inch screen TV, but it's fine. And so they notice something odd on the way back. There's this weird storm thing that hits them, and apparently it messes up the ship, and they have to land on this small planet / asteroid. And of course they happen to land on something similar enough to Earth so they can get off of it, which that's everywhere they land conveniently. And Bones says that the same reading he was picking up in space for that weird cloud thing was the same. He's picking it up on the planet as well, essentially. And all of a sudden, someone is yelling at them, running towards them, and is asking if they're real. Came out of nowhere. And my first note about this guy is this guy's hot, capital HAWT. And of course, he remarks on the woman there, because, no surprise. And Bones confirms he is indeed human. And he weirdly offers, he's very casual with them, he's excited to see them, that they're there, but he's also not. It's exactly what Bones says, he's saying a lot but also saying nothing. That was a very accurate description. So he offers Hedford a hot bath, which she was like, thanks for offering me one, cool, fuck you. And Kirk is very suspicious of this dude and says he looks familiar, which he looked familiar to me too. Was he? I guess maybe find out later if he's been in a previous episode that we've seen. Nope, hasn't been. Okay, I'm crazy then. So then they go to Cochrane's camp, and Hedford gets really hot when they go inside, which is not a good sign of her illness. I don't know what word I was trying to say. I put suit, but I'm guessing SOOT. I'm guessing I meant they see the weird cloud thing outside. And they ask Cochrane to explain, and he calls it his companion. and he was brought here by the companion, and it saved his life. And apparently, he used to be old, and it turned him young. And that's when they realize it's Zephram Cochrane who invented the warp and died 150 years ago. But apparently, they
Mm-hmm.
found his body. So it's all starting to fall into place. And that's when Hedford's fever is starting. And Bones is like, we're running out of time for her. And apparently the companion brought them there to keep Cochrane company, which of course Kirk is like, not gonna happen. Hedford starts freaking out and they lie her down in the bed to sedate her, which she was saying, like, this is disgusting. Which I was like, what is she talking about? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if it was a fever dream because what they were talking about had nothing to do with like disgusting. It was Cochrane telling Kirk that the companion brought them there to be his companion, essentially. So I was like, that's not a weird, like, that's, I don't know. I'm guessing she was just having, like, a
Yeah.
weird fever dream.
I think it was a weird reaction. It was just an odd reaction to the circumstance. I think she was saying it because didn't she say it's inhuman too? Like
I couldn't really
another
tell what she
instance
was
of
saying at the end.
taking people and trying to put human beings in captivity and hold them. Like I think I thought that that's what she was trying to say was disgusting, but it felt
Yeah.
like an over. I think part of it was also like fever hallucinations and she's not all there and yeah.
Yeah. Something like that. So then, let's see. Kirk tells Cochrane about all the planets and asks him to help them so he can see the planets too. Meanwhile, Spock is working on the shuttle when the companion comes up to him and electrocutes him as well as the shuttle. And Kirk asks Cochrane if the companion can cure Hedford. He doesn't know. And so they ask him to summon the companion, and the companion like surrounds Cochrane in the like mist thing. And while Kirk and Bones are looking on at it, Kirk is like, they're trying to figure out what it looks like between them. And, Kirk finally falls on, it's love. Which I was like, oh boy, here we go.
This is a sure Jan moment.
Yeah, which I was like, it's just like you can see, I guess you can see Cochrane's reaction, but I don't know how he got to that conclusion, but I guess from the rest of the interactions you could have, but at this point in the episode, I don't know how you would have deduced that. So
I also
then
thought it
go
was
ahead.
odd because he said something like beloved pet and then I'm like and then he's like no it's love. I'm like so like I
Can't
get
love
that
your
they're
pet.
trying to say you can't love your pet
Yeah.
like you
Your love is limited
I get that they're
to
trying
one
to say
romantic
oh
partner,
romantic
and they
love.
have to be
Yeah.
absolutely everything for you for the rest of your life, and you can't love anyone else, and your love is limited to that. Anyways, moving on. Cochrane says the companion can't help
Moving
her.
on.
And Bones finds Spock knocked out. They theorize that they can short it out because it electrocuted him. Which I'll just say this line now is when Bones says, I'm not a scientist, I'm a doctor. And I'm like, yes, you literally are a scientist, you dummy. Like, come on. It's literally a science.
Indeed.
And Cochrane has mixed feelings about their plan to short out, but summons the companion anyways. They try to short out, but it comes inside and attacks them, which Bones just kind of stands there and yells at it to stop, which I thought that was kind of a funny part of the scene.
Yeah.
But then Cochrane wakes up and convinces the companion to stop because he got knocked out. And Kirk asks Spock to adjust the translator from the shuttle to help them, which looked a lot like something else that we'll bring up in spoilers without context. And back on the ship, though, Scotty is in command, and him, Sulu, and Uhura are trying to find the shuttle, which didn't last episode you say we wouldn't see Sulu for 9 episodes? Or I'm guessing they shot this before.
It's another production order thing.
Got it.
Yeah.
That checks out. Yeah, they're trying to find the shuttle. They find some particles and try to follow it, but it disappears. And Uhura questions Scotty how they're going to find them. I'll save that line for later that she says that was very weird. Spock has fixed up the translator, and Cochrane calls the companion again, and she sounds feminine, which they're all really shocked by. And Bones calls Cochrane her lover. Just like, oh boy, here we go. And Cochrane's reaction to that was just so funny because I was like, that's literally how you've been acting with this being, like they're your companion, like they're your partner. That seems like there's love there. And he's like, no, no, that's weird. Like you guys maybe from the future, but you know, that's not what's happening. Like, he was very defensive about it, which I was like, "Okay, toxic masculinity, go sit down." Um,
And it was a real sudden, like,
shift.
very suddenly, like, oh, I was fine with this up until you put the notion of the possibility of this in my head, and then
They held up the mirror.
I'm total 180 on
Yeah.
I thought it was a little weird.
It was very weird. Then we had Hedford gets upset about how Cochrane is running away from love, and she's like, "I've always wanted love," and blah blah blah. I'm like, we'll get to that later. Scotty on the ship is approaching the asteroid belt, and this is when the companion denies her feelings, just as she cares, and Kirk tells it it's not that it's impossible for them to be together. And then all of a sudden, Hedford is up and feeling better, and they realize that the companion has gone into her body. But they're both there. They're both there and both present. Yeah. And then she all of a sudden starts talking about loneliness, which was kind of weird. Kind of came out of nowhere.
The companion was starting to recognize and process Hedford's emotions.
Got it.
She was feeling Hedford's loneliness that she had alluded to, like, because Hedford's saying she'd never been loved and never loved anybody.
Okay, that makes more sense.
So I think that's what was happening there, yeah.
Yeah. And she says that the shuttle's been fixed and communications are fine now. But at this point, I was like, doesn't Hedford need to go do her work and have her own life? Question mark?
Yeah.
And at that point, I was like, this is just weird and dumb. Kirk calls to Scotty, tells them they're okay. She holds up her like mesh of her shirt over her when she's talking to Cochrane. And kind of like, I don't know what I wanted to say here. Oh, because I think she did that because maybe that's how she saw things as the companion through the like haziness.
Yeah, I'll just talk about this now because it's not. We'll talk about this in general. This was one of the things I found for episode trivia. It says, symbolically, the colored patterns in the scarf worn by the commissioner are identical to patterns in the energy field of the companion. This is shown clearly as she looks at Cochrane through the scarf near the end of the episode. This was not scripted or even intended by the production staff. Director Ralph Senensky came up... Senensky. There's an extra N in there. Ralph Senensky came up with the idea on the set, calling it one of those wonderful freak accidents that happened.
It's not really the same colors, though. It was like green and
not
blue,
identical.
And it was more yellow with flecks in it. But sure, Jan, sure.
Yes.
Whatever
this episode
you want to say to
sure Jans.
Pat your back. Yeah, it really is. Let's see. She says that she can't go with him, and they kiss. And this is when I was once again, but what about Hedford's life? And I was like, this is very prolonged ending. Let's get this the fuck over with at this point. Cochrane decides to say, after all, this episode could have ended 10 minutes ago, was my note. This is big dumb was my next note. I've never done this for an episode before, I will say. Not even for the alternative factor. I've never put notes like this.
I was going to say, this is your alternative factor.
Yeah. Like, I hated that too, but yeah, this one because this just pissed me off. Like, the alternative factor was just bad, and like Miri was like bad too, like bad idea, but like this is just, yeah, we'll get to it. And then of course Bones asks about the war on the planet, and Kirk says the Federation will find someone else to stop the war. I'm like, oh, okay. So
well, no.
Another woman.
He didn't say, yeah, another woman.
Yep.
Like,
yep.
On the one hand, I'm like, bro. On the other, I'm like, well, it's very, it's kind of, what's the word I want to use? No, it's kind of,
dismissive.
Actually, somewhat intelligent and
sexist
forethought that you realize that you need women to go in and clean up men's messes because you are incapable of making peace because you're dudes.
You said it, not me.
Yeah. But yes, someone, not because it was very much, we'll find another woman to do it, which on the one hand, sexist. On the other hand, they probably do want a woman in there to make peace rather than a man.
Totally. That's great. Love that. The fact that, like, okay, let's get into it.
So we're moving into general thought. Like, we're done with the recap. Yeah.
Done with the episode.
Yeah.
I don't even know where to begin with this. Okay, I will say the fact that both her and the companion are there and talking, and like the companion notices Hedford's emotions and feelings, and Hedford did say earlier on that she hasn't felt love. She didn't ask for the companion to go into her body. Also, I'm sure people will say, well, she was supposed to die. Like, if the companion hadn't done that, she would have died. Well, guess what? That would have been her own choice to die. This is completely taking away that choice.
Also, she wouldn't have died if the companion hadn't brought them there in the first place.
Exactly. And like,
she would have been back on the Enterprise and getting the treatment that she needed.
Yeah, and who really knows how much she was actually able to talk once the companion took control of her? Like, the fact that they just believed it, that both of them were there, is very sus. And just the fact that, yeah, she's fine there. Doesn't want to have the rest of her life, doesn't want to have a job, doesn't know this dude. Also, didn't know this dude at all before this. Like, she's not in love with him. So, like, the companion can be in love with him, but who knows if she'll be in love with him or not. So it's like, cool, you can kind of experience love, but who knows if you're going to actually love him because you're your own person and you're, guess what, a human? I don't know. It's just a bunch of dumb, and really it just paints women in not the best way. You know, just we're here for love and romance and procreation, and that's all we're good for, essentially. And like,
to stop wars.
And to stop wars, yeah. That's actually important. But, you know, men think they can do that, but clearly. How's that been working out for y'all? Good? Nah. But yeah, it's just, it's a silly concept that they completely dismiss the fact that she had her own choice and the rest of her life. Because, yeah, once again, how do they know for sure that she was there or not? And yeah, once again, she didn't consent for the companion to take over her. Like,
yeah, I'm glad you thought that, because one of the things I wrote down is, because I was bothered also by the implication that there is the impossibility of romantic love between a human and another species. Like, I don't think that that's impossible. That I don't think it has to be just a human being and another human being. If it's a sentient life form that can speak and think, I think this would have been better as a story about consent than it would be a story about the inability of a human and another thinking being, like, being able to love each other.
Yeah. And like, you can love other people without touching them. That's another thing. Like, to say that's impossible for them to love each other, I'm like, I've literally fallen in love with people that I have never met in real life, or of people that, like, I didn't meet for a long time. Like, it happens. So, yeah, I think that's kind of silly to dismiss that. Like, obviously the physical part of relationships are great, but also, like, you can love people non-romantically, and, you know, obviously you're not gonna be intimate with people you're not romantically in love with or love.
Also, asexual people exist who
Yes.
have romantic love for someone but don't have any desire for the physical aspect of it.
Exactly. Aromantic, asexual, we have all of it. They all exist, and you are all valid. I don't know. It's silly, and it's just, like, very dismissive. It's something we've talked about before, where Star Trek is 2 steps forward, 1 step back in a lot of ways, and this is definitely a big step back, unfortunately. I don't know. Like, when I first watched this episode, up until that point when she takes over her body, I was like, oh, okay, like, this is an interesting concept. This is different. Curious to see where this goes. And then once that happened, I'm like, yeah, fuck this. Yeah. So that's pretty much my thoughts.
Yeah. It's, yeah. Let me see. This was one of Gene Kuhn's episodes. He wrote this. Completely. It was all him. Like, all the production timeline just says, because it says story outline, first draft, second draft, final draft, revised, final draft. Now, this would have, I think, had input by Roddenberry and DC Fontana, because she was the story editor. But the script itself, there's no credits for, like, rewritten drafts by Roddenberry or anybody else. So this was mostly Gene Kuhn. Again, you hate to use this as an excuse, because it should still be better. It is a product of its time. It's the 60s. They're only going to go so far, or they're not going to be allowed on TV.
Yeah.
Like,
and don't get me wrong. Go ahead.
If they had it entirely their way and didn't have to worry about, like, NBC telling them whether they get to stay on TV or not, or airing, refusing to air an episode because it goes too far against the values and accepted norms of the time, who knows what it would have looked like if that was the case. But
yeah, I'm curious.
Still could have been better than this.
We need more romance. I don't know. Who knows? It's an interesting one, to say the least. Like, they were so close, and then they had to go that direction. I'm like, dang.
I really think if they would have approached it from the angle of it being about consent, Cochrane not consenting to be on the planet, whether Hedford consented to the entity taking her over or not, I think it would have been a better story and a better aspect to look at than the way that they did go with it.
Totally. And it is, once again, another example of a planet where he has all of his needs fulfilled for the most part.
Yep.
Well, maybe not some needs, but so
yeah,
it's another trope.
humans in captivity, but he will cease to exist because he's in captivity. And
I just noticed in my notes that, which I did a lot of typos for whatever reason. I instead of warp, I did WAP. He invented the WAP, which we all know what that stands for now. And he died 150 years ago.
Yes.
Anyways, so lines and moments. I have some lines. Should I go?
Okay,
or do you want to go?
I have. I really only have. I have two.
Okay.
That I really wrote down.
Okay.
Spock's fascinating about the parochial attitude.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
You mentioned it a little bit. I could even offer you a hot bath. How perceptive of you to notice that I needed one.
That was good. That was good.
Those are the only ones that I wrote down.
I did food to a starving man, Cochrane says when he sees them.
Yeah.
Which he says about Hedford, but he's like, you
Hedford,
guys too.
yeah.
I'm like,
sure. Yeah. Oh, and you guys.
I guess so. Bones, as I said before, the I'm not a scientist. I'm like, you literally are. And then when Uhura says to... Wait, was it Scotty? Yeah, it was Scotty. It's a big galaxy out there. Like, the way she said it was really funny to me. I don't know if you picked up on that.
Yeah, kind of. It was a little off for the situation, but
it was very dramatic sounding. A little too much. And then when Spock says, "It is not a zookeeper," when she sounds feminine, I'm like, okay,
yeah,
sure, whatever. And then how Bones says, "You get used to those things when they're talking about love," and I'm like, okay, once again, okay. And then when the companion says, "The man is the center of all things," and I was like, well, you're not wrong in this situation. Yeah, that's it. That's all my lines.
Okay. Well, that will bring us to That's What They Said.
You might as well sit back and enjoy the ride.
Bones, maintain full alert.
How long am I supposed to stay inside, Captain?
You don't mind if we continue to try?
How do you do it?
I clear my mind and it comes.
If only. The man the man must continue.
It pleases me.
Yay.
Yay.
Those are your That's What They Said for Star Trek The Original Series Season 2, Episode 9, Metamorphosis, aka Episode 38. You're welcome.
Correct. I have a lot to say about something that... Let's switch things up a little bit. I have a lot to say about something. So let's do... Normally we would go to episode trivia, but let's do spoilers without context first.
Okay.
And then go to episode trivia.
Interesting. Okay. I'm curious.
We will bring my spoilers without context up on the screen. So the companion looked like a Jell-O mold. It looked like they took Jell-O, filmed it, and then
that's what that is.
Did a transparency effect over it? Yeah, this is okay. This particular is called broken glass. I think because it's white cathedral glass Jell-O. Yeah,
that's what threw me off.
Yeah,
it does look like that.
In my brain, I saw clear red Jell-O with other colored Jell-O in it, but the only pictures I could find of that were fruit. I'm I know I've seen Jell-O with other Jell-O in it, but the only thing I could find was the white.
It's Jell-O Inception.
Yeah. But that's what it made me think of. They took they took video of a wiggling pan of Jell-O, and then color shifted it and put it on a transparency over top of the frame. I think that's how they did the companion.
I don't know.
And then we have this is Blanca from Street Fighter 2 electrifying an opponent, mainly because of the companion electrifying Spock.
Nice.
A goat for the Judas goat comment from Cochran.
I wasn't sure what he was talking about.
I looked it up. It's like a goat for herding. I forget what the exact definition of it is, but it's like
okay.
Yeah, it's a goat for herding. And then when they turned on the device and were messing with the electricity of the companion, and it like stormed the house, I just thought it's coming right for us.
And they stand there and they don't run away. Like, come on.
Yeah,
you can do better than that.
So
very good.
Those are mine,
very
and
good.
We will bring Ensign Kayla's.
Are you directing air traffic? Air traffic control. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, so I did a lightsaber because the translator looked a lot like a lightsaber.
Yeah.
I was really struggling to pick out ones, and then I was kind of like scrubbing through the episode, and I saw that. I was like, oh yeah, I could do that. And then Benjamin Button, because he reversed an age. And I'm 95% sure this is the thing I was thinking of. Because I had texted Johnny. I was like, there's something that has like a yellow blanket with like patches of stuff, and it sticks out in my memory from like something that I've watched a million times, but I can't think of it now. Well, it wasn't something that I watched. It was a painting that was in my home growing up. And that's why it sticks out in my mind. I forget the name of this, but I literally looked up yellow painting of lady in bed. It has a name. I'm sure someone will tell me what it is. I didn't even think to like look for it when I found the picture. And then we have the smoke monster from Lost because it's a weird cloud thing. So yeah,
it's a living cloud of some sort.
And it does tend to have some electrocution stuff in it in Lost without giving anything away to Johnny, who hasn't seen it yet.
Interesting. Indeed.
Yeah. That's it.
All right. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
The painting is definitely it's appropriate too, because it's got like despite the episode and whatnot, it has the is that a dude in the
it's a dude kissing a lady in bed.
Oh. Anyway,
I love love, but
that will bring us to this time, episode trivia. So, I already said the one about the color patterns in the scarf. Not really, like, whatever, we talked about it. This is the only episode in the first 2 seasons in which Captain Kirk is not on the Enterprise at any time during the plot.
Huh. Yeah. It's true.
And then the planet used as Gamma Canaris N, a purple color-corrected version of the planet created for Operation Annihilate, was reused in subsequent episodes. And they say that, and I went, the planet wasn't fucking purple.
Kind of.
And that'll bring me to this. I will put some of these up on the screen.
Okay.
So this is the original. This is on Memory Alpha comparing. This is the original shot of the Galileo from the episode, and this is the remastered shot. This was the original shot inside. Only one of the panels came down. And then in the remastered version, all 3 opened up to show the cloud. That was the original effect for the cloud. And that was the remastered effect.
Pretty similar.
That was the original effect and the remastered effect.
Okay.
This was the original planet.
Okay.
Super purple.
Yeah.
And this is what they replaced it with. I think the previous one has more character. Like way more character. And the skies were purple. Like it was very purple on the ground.
Huh.
So why they remastered it to this barren brown rock,
Weird.
I don't know. But this was the original effect for the
Very
planet.
interesting. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And then, so that's that. And I'm like,
Okay.
wow, there is very little to go on for this episode. And then I discovered something. And this is why we went with the spoilers without context first, because we're going to talk a lot about this.
Okay.
Oh, wait, I want to talk about this.
So much is happening.
This prop. Like, I want to know what this prop is. It kind of looks like the Firespray 31 Boba Fett starship, but this predates Star Wars, so it certainly is not. And there's no information about props in the Memory Alpha article at all. But I want to know what this is. But
it is interesting.
But what I really want to talk about is this. So this is the Universal Translator prop at the top, which you obviously put the lightsaber for your spoilers without context. This prop sold at Heritage Auction in October of 2023, so just 4 months ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. How much money do you think this prop sold for?
$1 million.
No, not that much.
Oh. 400,000.
Okay, not quite that much. It sold for $49,000.
Jeez.
So this is the one that we saw in this episode at the top. The bottom one is the Gorn's translator from Arena, because this prop was also in Arena, but it was only the front half. On this picture, this top piece with the light bulb is a part that was added for this episode. In Arena, it was just this part in the middle.
Yeah, I was going to say it wasn't that long in Arena. That's what they said. And
apparently, I found this information on rpfforum.com, which is like a replica prop forum. This wire obviously goes to the light bulb and was apparently up Shatner's sleeve to a battery pack on his back that was connected to a controller so someone could make it. It was connected to a microphone. It was connected to a microphone so that when someone spoke, the lights would modulate, and that's why it flickered when the companion was speaking. So someone on set was holding a microphone speaking the lines into it. It's the 1960s. It's the only way they could do it.
Yeah. Well, the fact they couldn't put a battery in the pack in the thing itself.
Miniaturization is expensive and not as advanced back then.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's just it's fascinating. Yeah. Spock would say.
So apparently Shatner had a battery pack on like his belt that this wire went up his sleeve and into it. And then
wow. Learn something new every day.
And there was this picture of someone holding it, and I'm like, oh, the size of it definitely looks like a lightsaber.
Yes, it does.
And then there was an event.
Especially the top part makes it look like the dark saber.
Yeah. This apparently is an industrial file that was attached to it when Kirk uses it to strike the whatever the element was that caused the explosion in Arena. When he blew up the Gorn, he was striking it with the Universal Translator, and it's because this part is an actual file that was attached to the prop so that it would make the sparks. And then in New York, there is a Star Trek Tours experience. Like they have a rebuilt Enterprise sets. And I guess in November, there was an event there and William Shatner was there. And the guy who owns the prop, who bought it at auction, brought it and reunited Shatner with the prop. Like, here's a picture of Shatner holding the prop.
He's like, why am I holding
60
this?
60 plus years. Is he wearing the same MMA Elite jacket that he was wearing when you met him?
Well, if it was November, same month.
Yeah.
Maybe he was just
jacket.
traveling around. There's the butt plug chest.
Yeah, I knew you were going to notice that.
How can I
But yeah,
not?
it definitely... when I was looking at these pictures, I'm like, man, that looks a lot like a lightsaber based on the size and whatnot.
Does indeed.
But yeah, that's I was like, oh, these are 3 really uninteresting fun facts about this episode. This was a very run-of-the-mill, we're making an episode of television, nothing special about it. And then I found out all this information this afternoon about this prop. So that was fun. We had something more fun to talk about.
Yes, really. After this episode.
Now I got to edit all those photos into the thing. So that's good.
Good luck with
all
that.
Right, so, yeah. Before we rank the episode, Ensign Kayla, why don't you tell the people where to find us if they want more?
Yeah. If you want to follow us on social media, our handle is at GTFO channel. If you want to email us, our email is channelgtfo@gmail.com. It is the reverse of our Instagram/social media handle, which mostly just post on Instagram anyways. Yeah, and Trek Retrek, same time, same place, Thursday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern. We'll be here. Yeah. That's it. Make sure to smack that like, smack that subscribe, smack that bell icon. And now we will rank the episode.
Okay. Ensign Kayla, how do you rank Metamorphosis?
Yeah, this is going to be an ensign for me. to no one's surprise.
To no one's shock at all.
You know, up until that part, I would give it a lieutenant, because it was interesting, but once that happened, I was like, nah. The fact that I wrote in my notes, this is big dumb. All you need to know.
This is big dumb.
Big dumb. What about you?
I'm gonna give it a lieutenant solely for Zephram Cochrane, because he isn't important. We hear a lot more about Zephram Cochrane.
Okay.
As time goes on. Because he created the warp drive. Like, he's the whole reason that
you mean he didn't create the wet ass cat drive? I was
the wet ass meow meow.
Meow meow.
Yeah, so his name gets brought up a lot. Like, they name a system of warp measurement around him. So in episodes of Star Trek The Next Generation, you'll hear people refer to things as, 200 Cochranes.
People just want to say Cochrane.
And his first name's Zephram. Like, what kind of name is Zephram?
Such an interesting name. It's cool. I'll give him that. And he has nice. Yeah, he has pretty eyes, I will say. Nice and blue.
So yeah, I'd say lieutenant. Just because of Cochrane. Otherwise, if you're interested in Zephram Cochrane, then, and what happened to him after he created the warp drive and made all of Star Trek's future history possible, watch this episode. Otherwise, don't bother. So our next episode is Journey to Babel. I always want to say it Babel.
It is Babel, but for some reason they pronounce it Babel.
Yeah.
Like, what was it?
The
what
Enterprise.
Was it that was pronounced weird? Telekinesis.
Telekinesis, yeah.
Yeah.
Not telekinesis, telekinesis.
Babel. Babel.
Yeah. Journey to Babel. IMDb.com says the Enterprise hosts a number of quarreling diplomats, including Spock's father, but someone on board has murder in mind.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. I was like, because I watched the episode already and I was thinking about Spock's dad being in it, and then I was looking at the summaries and they both just outright say Spock's daddy, and I'm like, well, it's not much of a secret and it's revealed, so
yeah, which I didn't
talk
know
about that.
Yeah, we'll get to it. Yeah, thanks everyone.
We'll talk about that next week.
Yeah, thanks everyone for joining. If you're watching this live or on the replay, thank you. Once again, make sure to smack that like, smack that subscribe, smack that bell icon. And yeah, until next time, thanks for geeking the F out with us. Peace and long life.
Live long and prosper.
Bye.